Hello and welcome. I'm the Restless Kaiser and we are modelling for Advantage. So the world is in lockdown. We've had a bit of a rethink about how we do things. A big feature of our channel is that we have regular battle reports with multiple people. We have a bit of a laugh and we enjoy the gaming experience. That is of course going to be very difficult going forwards. We don't know how long all of this is going to last. We do have some pre-recorded material already, so for the next several weeks, at least once a week, you're still going to see a battle report with several people. We've got some Flames of War, we've got some Warhammer, we've got some Underworlds, and we've got some ball action, all already done. But what I don't want to do for you guys and for us as a channel is to just run out of the kind of content that you're used to within a week or so. So I think what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and stretch that content out for a little bit so that you're still going to get a battle report once a week, or at least some kind of content with more than one person. I know there's a lot of YouTube content out there of people, you know, one man, one camera, and that kind of stuff is great. But I'm not sure that that's what our channel is about. I'm not sure that that's something that I'm necessarily very good at. But what I'm going to try and do is have a go at that, do a bit of an update thing. And this week's episode, we're going to focus on some progress we're making in Kill Team and what you might expect from that. I'm going to cover a few other things first. Apologies, occasionally going to look down at my notes because again, I'm pretty new at this. So what you should expect to see is on a Wednesday some kind of one-man content. It may be a channel update from me. Hopefully Johnny B and maybe some of the other guys can record something on their phones and send it over. But it's all very early days for that kind of thing. Don't want to make any kind of promises, but we're still hoping to get stuff out twice a week. Some sort of solo content on a Wednesday and some of our pre-recorded content on a Friday. Much more of the kind of stuff that you're more used to. So we're talking about updates. One of the pieces of news I want to draw your attention to, if you don't know, there is a digital war games convention being put together. A lot of us here in the UK are really looking forward to Salute over the coming weeks, and that's just not going to happen. Not only is it not happening later in the year, it is literally cancelled for 2020. So hopefully there will be a Salute next year. I'm sure there will be, but we're not going to get one anytime soon. But PaintAllTheMinis.com, who is a fellow YouTuber, he does a podcast type format, some of you may know him, putting together a digital convention. We've been invited to put some material up for that. And we're going to use some of the battle reports that we will be showing later on in the month, which will be previewed there. But there's loads of traders and other commercial content, such as Mantic, for example, Sarissa, and it's a full weekend program. I think the digital ticket is something like £7.50. It's predominantly running through Discord. I'm not promising you that it's going to be utterly amazing, but I think it's a really good thing for someone to be trying. So I really want to encourage Paint All the Minis and encourage you to get involved if you can. I think this kind of stuff is something that the community can really use right now, and I think he's been really brave and putting a huge amount of work in to getting all this together. But if you get over to his website and have a look, there's a lot of good stuff in there. At this point in the schedule, and I say schedule, we're just reaching a point in terms of the videos that we make, the content that we create, where there is something akin to a schedule on a scruffy pad. We should have been having a Kill Team game. We would have put up Kill Team today. It would have been something probably with myself and Johnny B, working our way through the matches in Elites. Obviously that's not possible at the moment, but it is an opportunity, I suppose, to provide a bit of a feature within the middle of this update and say what are we doing for Kill Team and where we're going with Kill Team. So pull these thing over. The first thing to say about Kill Team is we're trying to be as authentic as possible to some of the missions, the match play missions that are listed in the books. We've done a dozen Kill Team games now. It's one of the systems which we're more familiar with, but a lot of these match play missions require or suggest certain terrain setups, and that's required a little bit of work from us to get our tables to be able to match those. And the first and most irritating of them is this piece of scenery here. I get a still for you to have a look at. I've got about 3 sets of the Sector Imperialis scenery painted up, I followed the instructions, but this particular piece I did not have, and it keeps showing up on those suggested maps. So one of the things that I made sure to do, got hold of another set of the ruins and made up this particular piece, because it was starting to annoy me, always having to improvise despite having loads of that stuff. And the other thing was that several of the games I've had this stuff on sprue for quite a long time. I think they're called galvanic servo haulers. Had this stuff on sprue for a long time, not got around to painting it. So I started by wanting a bit of a JCB kind of look, which is why I went for a yellow spray. And I had some of the army paint yellow primer that I'd had lying around for a while. So sprayed it and then tried to mucky it up. So I've made up all three of the pieces. You might have actually seen this one in a previous video, which was like a tester piece. I've got to say, I'm not entirely happy with it. Johnny B reckons that he's going to get some weathering pigments on it and look all right. But the major problem I found with this wasn't so much the idea. The idea was I'd spray it and then I'd use loads of Agrax to mucky it up, paint in a few details, much like my other Mechanica scenery. The problem was that I didn't have a matching yellow. I used up the last of an old spray can to coat them, but when it came to needing to touch up areas where the wash hadn't taken properly or it pooled too heavily in some areas like there, I just didn't have the yellow that matched with it, and it was really frustrating me. As I say, hopefully with a little bit of weathering, this will still be serviceable, but this brings into play these three pieces are required in a whole bunch of other maps. So that's for the scenery. I've also been working in the background on a few other pieces of scattered terrain and so forth, usable in 40k as well as Kill Team, just to decorate the board a little bit. If you do get around to painting one of these, by the way, I would absolutely, I'm not normally into sub-assemblies because it's a lot of faff generally for me. I'm not a very accomplished modeler, but this piece is extremely difficult to paint if you've assembled it, particularly at a crooked angle like this. I 100% would keep the base and the crane itself separate until you've painted it. I've used them on the table where the two pieces are kept separate permanently to allow you to position them, and that's quite irritating because this thing just keeps falling over, which is why I glued it originally. But I would not, if I'm doing this again, wouldn't do that until I'd painted it completely. When you try and get your brush into certain places, the footprint of the model is too big. Anyway, so that's that. And in terms of kill teams then, I have finally finished painting up the Servants of the Abyss. We'll get a still of those so you can have a look. Essentially, what I've got here is the contents of the Servants of the Abyss box. It's not everything you get in Blackstone Fortress, it's just what's in that particular box, which I think is about 25 quid and is still available in some places. Usable in Kill Team, and the rules for them are in the Kill Team Annual for 2019. So what about their rules? Well, in this annual, they've got 5 stratagems. The first one is called Servants of the Abyss. Use this tactic when a Heretic Astartes model from your kill team is chosen to attack in the shooting or fight phase. Add 1 to wound rolls for models that target Imperium models until the end of the phase. 2 command points. That seems to me to be trash for 2 command points, plus 1 to wound for 1 model in 1 phase. I'm not seeing it, to be honest. The problem, if I say that there's an issue with this is another one of these we all do 1 damage type kill teams. They've got some interesting powers and abilities, but they don't have access to big weapons. Tactic number 2 is a Blackstone Trinket. Servants of the Abyss tactic. Use this tactic when an enemy Psyker successfully manifests a power within 6 inches of a Servants of the Abyss model within your kill team. Roll d6. On a 4+, the power has no effect. Also 2 command points. Now that potentially is quite powerful if you're expecting that psychic power to be really effective. Maybe take out a significant model of yours. You've got to deny on a 4+ for 2 command points. It's highly situational, but it's nice to have in the bag. The downside of it is you do have a Psyker access to a decent Psyker in this kill team. I say a decent Psyker. A Psyker that's got more than one wound is probably a better way of putting it. You do have access to one, so you don't need that as much as other kill teams might. But as I say, in certain situations, I could see myself using that. Servants of the Abyss tactic. Into them, you dogs. Use this tactic at the start of the morale phase. Pick a traitor guardsman or cultist of the Abyss from your kill team within 6 inches of a traitor commissar model. That model is taken out of action. You can reroll tests to see if your kill team is broken at the end of the phase. In addition, models from your kill team automatically pass any nerve test they're required to take. 2 CP. Brilliant. The commissar gets to shoot a pleb, everybody auto passes nerve tests, and you can re-roll a break test. In theory, that sounds fantastic. The problem with that is the traitor commissar is a commander. The traitor commissar, irrespective of what his points are, he's a commander. So in almost all formats of the game that I've ever seen played, he's not available to you. There's quite a few commanders strategies in this book, and that's fine, I guess. But that's an extremely powerful ability to have. Sadly, you're probably never going to get to use it unless you play commanders. Next one, Expendable Minions. Sounds like my kind of game. Use this tactic when a Heretic Astartes from your kill team is picked as a target of a shooting attack. Pick a Servants of the Abyss model, excluding Heretic Astartes, that's within 1 inch. These attacks are resolved against that model instead. Brilliant. Your Chaos Space Marines can use the cultists, the traitor guardsmen, beastmen, etc. as bullet shields, provided they're within 1 inch. Love that. 1 command point. I can see myself using that a lot. Because the Chaos Space Marines in this list are quite important for providing some morale backbone for the list. So you probably need to keep at least one of them alive until the end of the game. Fully charged. Use this tactic at the start of the shooting phase. Pick 2 Negavolt cultist models from your kill team that are within 1 inch. Add 1 to their invulnerable saves. So you do get a pair of Negavolt cultists in this set. And so if you stick them together within 1 inch for a command point, no, for 2 command points, plus 1 invulnerable save. So let's have a look at the Negavolt Cultist. Negavolt Cultist, it's still a 1 wound model that has a 5-up invuln. So for 2 command points, they can have a 4-up invuln. 4-up invuln's pretty good, but it's a toughness 3 1 wound model, like a Harlequin. And I've played against Harlequins, and they're great when they attack. But when they're not attacking, they just die. 4-up invuln with toughness 3 just falls down to bullets rather than powerful weapons. So that was a look at the kill team. We're going to be seeing the Servants of the Abyss as soon as we get out of this lockdown phase. We'll be back in with that, I'm sure. I love the fact that there's some Chaos Beastmen here. I'm intending to make full use of those. The Rogue Psyker is quite a powerful model because he's multi-wounds and has access to psychic powers, just the basic sideball, but even so, that's another phase of the game in which you can launch an attack. And the Traitor Guardsmen are just cool. I love them, they're Cadian-esque. We talked a little bit about these before in an unboxing, but now they're painted up, really pleased with them. In terms of the way I painted the models, I wanted them to fit with my Death Guard, and I wanted my Chaos Space Marines, although these are probably, for me, this is probably what I'm going to use for Purge at some point in the future with Chaos Space Marines. I wanted them to look like they were part of the same force as my Death Guard. Even if they're not necessarily used at the same time, a lot of the models, the demons and other things would overlap. And what I found was the best way to do that was to restrict the colour palette. So predominantly the armour on the Chaos Space Marines is Rhinox hide, but I've used the Death Guard green, black and Rakarth flesh, and I've used the same colour palette for my cultists, for my traitor guardsmen, for this rogue psyker, and for the beastmen, and for a lot of my demons. I'm working on some furies at the moment to use with my Death Guard, or potentially these in 40k. And again, I found if you can keep the colour palette and the basing the same, mix up the combinations somewhat, even some Chaos Spawn, they look like they all fit together, even though the individual units look quite different. So that's just a little tip there for you, if that works for you. Alright, so that was a look at what's coming next in Kill Team. You'll be seeing these guys, as I say, on the table as soon as we get out of the lockdown phase. So it's worth taking a moment to talk about some suggestions that you might have. And in these update videos, I'm hoping each time to put one out to recommend to you some fellow YouTubers who've probably got an increasing amount of time on your hands and getting some hobby done. And there's several people out there who are worth just putting on in the background. One of the things that I found myself doing a little bit more of, because of having some more time in the evenings than usual, because I'm not commuting to and from work, even though I'm working from home, is looking at live streams of some of the people that do that. And what I'd like to suggest to you, if you've not seen them before, a channel called Gamercraft Dragon. I'm not telling you that Gamercraft Dragon is the best modeler or the best painter or the best any of those things, but it's actually it's a husband and wife show. They're both quite creative. They're both into a lot of the Warhammer IP, and they're just nice people. And their live show, they get maybe 20 to 50 viewers in the live stream. So they do chat, you know, you do get to engage with them. And yeah, like a lot of these things, there's a lot of personality to them as a channel. But specifically for them as a YouTubers, they were, as of yesterday, about 15 subscribers short of 500, which is an important milestone. So if you've got a spare 5 minutes, go out, check them out, and if you like them, subscribe to their channel. I think they're great, and I'm going to be recommending some more YouTubers to you over the coming weeks. The last thing to say is really more of a question. I'd be interested, obviously, in any feedback on how you felt this went. The attempt was to provide some sort of news, some sort of channel update, embedded around a little bit of content, which in this case was the Kill Team. It's possible that this strange world that we're living in now is going to go on for several months, and I need to be realistic about the things that we can and can't do and the kind of content you might expect. So I guess I'd like to hear from you. Would you actually be interested in seeing some solo content? I've watched solo YouTube content before. I don't mean in terms of the talking head stuff. I think there's some people that do that really, really well. I'm sure you all know people like Kirioth and Valrak, fantastic solo YouTubers. They make a career of it and they're really good at it. I mean in terms of solo gaming, because bat reps are such a big feature of our channel. I've been looking, several of the companies have put out some solo play options about how to do it, and a friend of ours, Clueless Mike, over on Team Clueless 40k, he's done a battle report of a solo kind of demons swarming against him, and it was interesting to watch, and it's interesting to play for me, but I'm not sure how interesting it is for you. What I don't want to do is spend time producing a lot of content which is basically junk and nobody wants to watch. But if there are games that you think you'd like to see some solo content with, give us a bell and let us know, and I'll see if I can do it. Well guys, I hope you found some of that useful, and we'll see more of this kind of content in the future as we move forwards. Look after yourselves, stay home, stay safe, take care of the people that you need to care for, and we'll all get through this. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share or subscribe to this video, and if you are buying new games or new miniatures, please consider following our affiliate link to Wayland Games. It gives us a little bit of kickback and helps fund other projects for the channel. Thank you for watching.